Hello, Duquesne University students. It's really a pleasure to be here presenting for you. I really hope you don't have to watch this video because that would be a sign that there was some technical issue, and that I wouldn't be able to be here with you in person. But this is just the backup in case if something goes wrong. But again, it's really a pleasure to be here with you today. Before we start, I just want to say that it's going to be a lot of information that I'm going to be presenting to you today. And I think as you're sitting in those seats as a current college students, you might not think that much of this information is going to be very useful yet. But I can tell you that one day when you are a teacher sitting at your computer for hours doing math for your budget, or you're trying to get ready for your get your concert program ready, this will become useful for you and will save you a lot of time so that you can focus on music instead of just sitting there doing administrative tasks. And it's, as I said before, it's a lot of information. And you can't possibly expect to absorb all of it today. And that's not what my goal is. My goal is more that you're able to identify one or two things that hopefully in the future, when you're when you're in your first job, you'll be like, oh, I can go back and find resources to learn about that one thing that the presenter said 2 years ago to me when I was at Duquesne. And I'm going to give you at the end of this presentation a link to this website here. This is my music teacher spreadsheet course website, and it basically has it's everything that I'm presenting today plus more, broken down into little and slower pieces. I'll be going a little bit too fast for you to actually be able to learn or absorb or retain anything today, but you'll be able to click on, for example, one of these links, and then you'll have here short videos that explain how to do everything that we will be talking about today. We are going to be using Google Sheets today, but almost everything we're doing today is also possible to do in Excel. Your school might be a Microsoft school, it might be a Google school. Google schools are more common in my experience, but even if you are a Microsoft school and you use Excel more often than you use Sheets, then you'll still be able to find a lot of what we are doing today useful and transferable to Excel. And with that, let's get started. The first tool that I want us to talk about today is filtering data. So if you look at my roster here of students, I have the student's first name and their last name here, along with their grade level and their instrument and their email address. Let's say I want to see who are my seniors, because I want to make sure that because I want to recognize them at the concert, and I want to make sure I know who those students in this 66 ensemble, 66 member ensemble. I want to make sure that I can find those seniors. So what I can do is I can click anywhere in the data, and then I'm going to click on this create a filter button right here. And next to grade, there's these 3 lines. I'm going to click on the 3 lines, press clear, and you'll see also that we have all the options here. So I'm going to click select all again. You see we have 9, 10, 11, 12. Those are the 4 grade levels that I have. If I only want to see my seniors, I can click on clear, click on 12, and click on OK. And those are my 15 seniors. Likewise, let's say I want to break this down and just see who are those senior trumpet players, because maybe those trumpet players are going to be graduating next year. I can click on the 3 lines. Here are all the unique options that are in this column. Press clear, press trumpet, and now I have only the trumpet players. If I want to take off the filter, just click on this filter button right here, and now I have all the data back as I did before. Similarly, with my music library, it could be similar. It could be useful. So here I have the title of the piece in my music library, the composer's name, and the grade. So if it's a grade 1, grade 2 piece, let's say I want to see all the pieces that are grade 1.5, because I have in here over 700 pieces, and it would take forever for me to find those grade 1.5 pieces. I can click on create a filter, and then next to the 3 lines here, press clear and press 1.5, and those are all the grade 1.5 pieces, the 132 out of the 700 pieces in the library that are grade half. Press on the filter again, press select all 9, and then it will show me all of the options that are here. Attendance is another area where it can be useful. So if you look here, I'm going to collapse these columns here. So if you look here, I have the student's name, and then I also have the week, have their attendance for every week. So this week I have these students who are present, these ones who are absent. And let's say for this rehearsal here, for the week of November 11th, I want to see all the students who were absent. So that means all the students who are labeled A in this column. I can click on the 3 lines, and then I have C, P, and A are the 2 unique options. Let's just unclick P so you have only A's left. Press OK. And those are the 6 students who are absent during that rehearsal. If I want to see all of the students again, just press the filter button, select all 2, and now here are all the students again. Pivot tables. Oh wait, actually let's move on to sorting. So I want to talk about sorting quick in case if you're not familiar with it already. So here I have all my students in a random order. So for example, Wendy Simpson, Terrell McCoy. And let's say I want to sort them by last name, alphabetically. I can select all the data. And then after that, go to data and sort range, advanced range sorting options. And then I'm going to click on data has a header row. The header row is this column, is this row right here that says first name, last name, grade, instrument, student, email. So that's not actually part of the data. It's just the label that shows us what type of data is in every column. And I want to sort it by last name and press sort, and now they're all sorted by last name. Likewise, you can sort it by instruments. That goes in alphabetical order by instruments. So if I go to data, sort range, advanced range sorting options, sort by instrument, and then now we have all of them sorted by instrument. Alto saxes first, and baritones and clarinets, then flutes. Next, let's go on to pivot tables. So pivot tables, these are one of my favorite features in Google Sheets. They really make it easy for you to summarize your data. So for example, I have here the first name, the last name, the grade level, the student, also the instrument. Let's say I want to see how many students I have in every section. So I can go up to where it says insert and click on pivot table. And for now, I'm going to do it in the same sheet. So I'm going to do it right here. And remember, and as I said before, everything that I'm explaining now, I do it at a much slower pace in the videos on my website. So right now, I just want you to be able to understand what you can do with this. It's okay if you don't get every single step for now. That's okay. And you can see how now that the column headers over here, first name, last name, grade, and instrument also appear over here. So let's say I want to see how many instruments I have in every how many students I have playing every instrument. So let's take instrument and put that under rows. And you can see now that instrument shows up in the rows in this table. And it gives me the unique options. So it doesn't list alto saxophone 6 times or baritone 5 times for there being 5 baritones. It just gives me the unique options. If I take instrument again and drag that under values, so value is always a number. You can see that gives me a count now of the number of students playing every instrument. I have 7 alto saxes, 1 baritone, 17 clarinets, 9 flutes. Now let's say I want to break this down by grade level. So if I take grade and put that under columns, you can see that now I have the number of students. I can see how many students I have in 9th grade, in 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade for every section. I have, for example, no seniors graduating from my alto saxophone section. These here are this down here is a grand total of number of students I have in every grade level, and here is a total number of students I have playing every instrument. So this is how we can use pivot tables to count instrumentation. It's really important that you have the student's first name and last name, like one row for every student. That's how pivot tables work. You don't want to have this group of alto saxes and then after that have a bunch of empty rows and clarinets. No, you want to have it like this so you can easily manipulate and analyze the data. Budgeting is another area where this can be useful. I don't know if we have enough. Yeah, let's do this. So this is my budget here. You can see that I have the date, the description, the amount, and the transaction type and category for every purchase that I have planned over the course of the school year. So I'm going to click on where it says insert and then pivot table. And for now, I'm going to do this in a new sheet. I'm going to click create. And let's take the transaction type. So transaction type is whether it's an expenditure or if it's income, like a fundraiser. So let's take transaction type and put that under rows. And you can, not amount. Take a transaction type, not amount. Transaction type and put that under rows. And if I take amount, so that's the number, that's the amount of money that's being spent, I'm going to put that under values. And you can see that now it's adding up. So before we're counting, that's why in this pivot table it says count. This time we are choosing to add. So that's why we have sum selected. So you can see the number of students we have. We can see the amount that we're spending and the amount that we're bringing in. And notice that all my expenditures are negative. All my income is positive. So let's say I want to break this down even further by the categories. The categories, whether it's sheet music or equipment or office supplies. So I'm going to take category and put that under transaction type. And you can see how much I'm spending in the band banquet, how much I'm spending on band camp, competition fees, how much I'm putting in my savings. And then here, my band booster, my concessions, my fees, how much I'm bringing in money. Now let's say I want to break this down by month so I can see how much I'm spending every month of the year. I can take month and put that under columns. Sorry, not month. Let's take date and put that under columns. And now you'll see all these unique dates that we have up here. Now this is a lot of dates here. Sometimes we have several in March or several in April, and it's going to be a pain in the neck for us to have to add them up by month. So what we can actually do is right click on the dates and then create pivot group. And we're going to create a pivot it by, group it by year-month. And now we can see how much we are spending in every month in every month of the year. And let's say I noticed, for example, that September and October I'm spending $150 in competition fees, but in November I'm spending over $1,000. I can double click on that 1,000 and I can see how much money I spent on what exactly were those transactions I spent money on during that month of November. Likewise, I want to go back to the instrumentation spreadsheet. So for example, let's say I want to see who are these 6 sophomore clarinets. Double click on the 6. You see who those 6 sophomore clarinets are. You don't have to go in your head remembering who those 6 clarinets are. All right, so that's an overview of pivot tables and filters. Let's move on now to formulas. So formulas and functions. Formulas and functions there's so many in Google Sheets, and I can't show you all of them today, and I don't even know all of them. But I want to show you some of the basic ones that can really help you save time as a music teacher. So one common issue that we often have as teachers is that we have to prepare names for a concert program. And I have here, and usually when you export the students' names from some type of learning management system like Schoology or Sapphire or Canvas or PowerSchool, you get a list of names that looks like this, where you have the first names in one column, the last names in another column. And you can't put the names like that in your concert program. So how can we combine these names together? We can use a formula, and we are going to use ampersand for this one. So that means that every formula begins with an equal sign, and every cell has both a number and a letter. So for example, this is cell A2. I'm going to click on cell A2. That's going to give me the student's first name. I'm going to press an ampersand. And then after that, I'm going to click on the student's last name. So this is going to be the first name, ampersand, the last name. And the last name in this case is cell B2. When I press return, you can see that now it gives me the student's first and last name put together. Now you might be saying, we're missing a space though. So after that first ampersand, we can type in a space and another ampersand. So it's the first name, ampersand, space in quotes, ampersand, last name. Every piece that you're joining together has an ampersand between it. Press return, and now we have the student's first and last name put together. If I want to make it that way for all the students, I can put my mouse over the blue dot until it becomes a little cross like this, drag it down, or double click on the blue dot, and it brings it all the way down to the bottom. And all the students' first and last names are now combined. Now, I can also now you might also be saying, I can't put them all caps like that in the concert program. You can do equals, and then type in proper, open the parentheses, click on the student's name, press return, and then accept the autofill, and you can see that now we have all the students' first and last names put together, ready for their concert program. Now lastly, you might want to make sure that it's in order from, you want to group them by section for your concert program. So for that, we would go to data. Actually, we have to select the range first. And then after that, we're going to go to data, sort range, advanced range sorting options. Data has a header row, instruments. This is what I showed you before with sorting. And now you have all the instruments grouped, all the students grouped by instrument. Now let's say I want to copy down the names of my 6 flutes for my concert program. One thing I want to make sure you do is that when you when you copy and paste into Google Doc or to any other place, if you just paste it like this, you're going to get a graph like that, which you don't want. You don't want a table like that in your concert program. What you should do instead is right-click, paste with without formatting, and then you have all the students' names without the grid. So that's ampersand and proper. Those are two formulas that we talked about before. Similarly, we can split students' names. So if I select all these students' names here, go to data, and then next I can go to split text to columns. What do I want to split it by? I want to split it by space. And now I have the student's first and last name split like that. That's very useful also. COUNTIF is another formula that's actually count A is one that's very useful. So count A is if I want to count the number of students I have. So if I type in here equals count A and select all the students' names here, then it says 66 students. Let's say I delete Randolph Andrews because he quits. Then it goes down automatically to 65. So these formulas are very useful because they're dynamic. They change automatically every time you make a change to the data that it depends on. So that's count A. COUNTIF is super useful for attendance. So take a look at these students here. I have all these students who are present or absent. Let's say I want to count the number of students who are present for this week. I can type in equals COUNTIF, open the parentheses, select the range that I'm doing the counting in. So this is where I'm counting, comma, and then after that I'm going to type in quotes the letter P, because that's the criteria I need for it to count. So first, where's the area that I'm doing the counting? It's this range. Then next, what is it that is being counted? The letter P that's in quotes. Press return, cancel the autofill just for now. And now it says 55 students were present. Now, do you have to do that for every week? No. Put your mouse over the blue dot, drag it over, and then you have that for every week of the rest of the year. If you want to calculate the percentage, that's equals, click on the number of students who are present, divide by 65. That's the total number of students I have. Press return, 84%. If you want it as a percentage, click on format as percent, and now we have 84.62%. Drag it over, and now you have that for the rest of the year. And then lastly, this is something that could be useful for you, sum and multiplication. So here I have a list of items that I need to purchase for my, I have a list of items I need to purchase, and I have, for example, a box of 3 alto saxophone reeds, like 3 strength alto saxophone reeds, and their quantity here. So I have to multiply the number, the cost by the quantity. So where it says total, I'm going to type in equals, click on the cost, and then the multiplication symbol is the asterisk, and then after that the quantity. So it's multiplying C2 by D2. Press return. I'm going to set the autofill. You can see the total amount that the total cost for every item when we multiply the cost by the quantity. If I want to add it all up, equals sum, and then select all of it, and that's the sum, $416.79. Now, let's say you want to find the total of just your high priority items or just your low priority items. Right now, I don't have time to show you how to do that because this is a compressed presentation. Normally, this presentation is an hour, but right now I only have half an hour with you. But if you want to learn how to do that, there's a video on my website that explains how to calculate just the high priority items. Next, we're going to talk about mail merge. So mail merge is super useful for sending mass personalized information to students, especially if they all have differing information. So what do I mean by this? So I have here an email in my outbox that says lesson this week. Hi, first name, your lesson is on lesson day at lesson time this week. Best, Mr. Wynn. So I want every student to get an email with their first name in there. It's personalized with their first name, their lesson day, and their lesson time. And you can see here that I have this mail merge data over here. So I have this spreadsheet here with the student's first name and last name. It also has their email address, the day of their lesson, and the time of their lesson. If you go to this website here, if you just Google, for example, actually, I have it linked in my website. So where it says mail merge, and then for Gmail, you're going to go to this website here. This website here, when you click on it, you are going to click on where it says make a copy, and it will give you a file that looks like this. It says copy of Gmail Sheets mail merge. So you go to that website, click on make a copy, and then you end up here. And it gives you a template. So you can see where it says first name, last name, recipient, description, discount code, discount amount, email sent. We're going to change these column headers so that they match what we have in the fields in this email, where it says first name, lesson day, and lesson time. So first name, we're going to copy and paste the students' first names from here into here. So I'm going to take the first names, select all of them, press copy, Command C, or you can copy this way, and then over here you can paste. Right click, paste special, values only, or you can just click paste. Last name, I'm going to copy and paste the last names here. So take the last names, right click, copy, over here paste it. I prefer to paste it with just the values only so we don't get the colors. And after the recipient, you always leave that column there. So the recipient is the email address. So I'm going to copy and paste these email addresses here, copy it, and then paste it over here. And there are all the email addresses. Description, discount code, discount amount, we don't need any of those three things. What do we need? We do need lesson day. So I'm going to type in lesson day and also type in lesson time. Copy the lesson day from the lesson day column. After that, I'm going to paste it right here. Copy lesson time from the lesson time column. Oh, let's try that again. Oops, missed. There we go. Copy it, and then I'm going to paste it right here. The email sent column, you always leave that blank. So the two column headers that always need to be there are recipient and email sent. Email sent column always needs to be blank before you send it out. Lesson day and lesson time, first name and last name, you have those. Those are parts that you can modify to match your own email. Next, I'm going to go to mail merge, send emails, and then I'm going to copy and paste, or I'm going to take this subject line, lesson this week, and I'm going to type it right here, lesson this week. Press OK, and then it's going to start sending out the emails. So if I go to my outbox here, you can see where it says, hi Domingo, your lesson is at 12:15, on Tuesday 12:15 this week. Hi Randolph, your lesson is on Thursday 10:55 this week. Hi Vernon, your lesson is on Wednesday 10:55 this week. You might notice that I got some error messages. That's because these are all fake email addresses. They are not real email addresses. Next, we are, and also if you end up at a school that uses Microsoft instead of Google, that uses Microsoft Outlook instead, you can go. You can still do this in Microsoft Outlook, and I have a video in here that explains how to do it in Microsoft Outlook as well. We can also use it to make certificates. So mail merge is very useful for certificates. So for example, I have this certificate here, and I also have in Excel this sample data here. So I have the student's first name and last name here, and also the grades, the grade of their instrument. I have this information here. And I want to create a personalized certificate for every student. So where it says this certificate is presented to, I want to put the student's name there. So I'm going to go to where it says mailings and click on select recipients, use an existing list. So this is in Microsoft Word. Go to downloads and then click on mail merge sample data. So that's the name of the file. This file here is titled mail merge sample data. I'm going to click on that right here. So mail merge sample data. That's in my downloads. Find the file, select it, press open and then press yes. So that's to combine to connect the two files. Press OK. And then where it says insert merge field, I'm going to first type in the first name or click on first name. So these column headers here, first name, last name, grade, these match the column headers over here. So I'm going to type in, so where it says first insert merge field, I'll type in first name, space, last name. And then after that, I can go to where it says preview results, and you can see that now we have every student's name personalized. And I can make this bigger. Maybe I'm going to make this bold. And then maybe I'll take a little bit of space off the top. And then I'm going to go to Now mailings, finish and merge, edit individual documents, and now you can see that now we have a personalized certificate for every student. Super useful, super useful. There are many situations as a music teacher where you might find this useful. I find it useful, for example, when I want to I teach elementary bands, so on every music stand I have the students' names on them, so the students know where to sit. And this makes it a lot faster, a lot easier. Next, conditional formatting. We have 5 minutes left to talk about this last topic. All right, conditional formatting. So conditional formatting is basically automatically color coding our data. So for example, I have the students' attendance in this column here. Let's say I want to calculate all the students whose attendance is less than 80% and I want them to be in red. So I selected all the data, format, conditional formatting, and then it has to be less than or equal to, or less than 80%. And then I'm going to click on this here and make this red. And now all the students whose attendance is less than 80% is automatically colored red. Take, for example, Julius here, his attendance is 82%. Right now, if I type in A and it goes below 80%, now he's automatically colored red, 78%. Data validation is basically just drop-down menus. So for example, in the data I have here, P and A are the ways I express present or absent. But let's say, for example, I'm sharing this with another teacher and they write down the word present instead. Watch what happens to this formula down here that calculates the amount of students that are present. It doesn't count the P because it has to say exactly P. So how do we fix this issue? We use something called data validation, or basically drop-down menus, where we select all the students, all the places where we want the drop-down menus to go. So I selected all of them. And then I'm going to right-click, and then I'm going to click on drop-down. And then it already picked up on the options here, P and A. I can add another one, E for excused, for example, and then press done. And then now, when I click on this, I can see P, E, or A. So if I, for example, over here, for this rehearsal here, this lesson, I want to, if I type in P, then it shows up. Now let's say I type in the word present. It rejects it. Also, you can click on it and then select the drop-down menu option from there. Now, there is so much more that if this presentation normally is an hour, but Colton told me that I had to keep it to half an hour. There's so much more that I wish I could explain to you. I did this first as a NAFME webinar, so if you're a NAFME member, you can go into the NAFME Learning Library and find this same presentation except the full hour-long version on there, and you can watch that. You can also go to my website, as I said before. I really recommend that you watch the intro video. It basically takes this half hour and condenses it into 1 minute and just reminds you what you can do, not how to do it. And then you can go back here and learn these things at a much slower pace. I know I went really, really, really fast today, but the videos on this website go much slower and they're shorter. It's not too much at once. And they almost all of them have a practice spreadsheet that you can do with it. So this should be, so you'll be able to this will be, you'll be able to learn everything in a much slower, a much more effective pace. I know that this is what I just did today. How fast I went through this presentation is not how you should, when you're teachers one day, not how you should teach your 10-year-olds or your high schoolers one day. But I really just wanted you to know what you could do with spreadsheets. That was my goal today. And I really hope that one day when you are teachers and you decide to make, and you have too much on your plate to do and you don't have enough time to put together first and last names, or to calculate your budget, or to count your instrumentation, or to sort your list of students, or to calculate rubric totals. I really hope that you will come back to this website, remember a few things that I told you about today, and learn them in depth in the future. I am always happy to answer any questions. I spend so much time helping teachers with spreadsheets and helping administrators, not because they're paying me, they don't pay me, but because I really, really do enjoy helping other teachers and making this useful. And one day when you're a teacher, or even now, if you think there's anything I could do to make your life easier, please send me an email. I remember what it was like when I did not know about all this stuff about spreadsheets, and I had to do all of it by hand. and I always like helping other people so they don't have to do it by hand one day in the future. So if you ever have any questions, please reach out to me. Here's my email address. I will and then this year and then already gave Colton my website, but this here is a QR code that you can use to get to the website if you're watching this video asynchronously. It's really been a pleasure giving this presentation. Hopefully you did not have to watch this video. Hopefully everything's fine with technology on the day of the presentation. But it's been a pleasure.